Through my art and my processes. Part of the fun of buying art is spending time with artists because we kind of see the world a little bit different. We're kind of a fun little chaos to bring into things. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Brian the Lion Production. This is how I come up with a mural. I started thinking about the elements of purchasing a mural. Well, if you decide to go that way, and we are over here at the equipment portion right now. Okay, my qualifications. I left home at 17, son of Magnolia, went off to the Navy. Got some education under my belt. I became an engineer in the Merchant Marines, and I worked for the Army Corps of Engineers as well as a professional artist, which is interesting. I had my professional credentials, and I approached the museum about working as one of their artists, and I showed them my paintings, and they said, "You're hired." So I built a wing of the museum called the Weiss Energy Hall, which is right over here with a bunch of really cool exhibits. And so, the ability to draw, sketch, produce scale models, and things like that were all put to good use. So being maximally capitalized on, which is fantastic. I think in life it's best if we can all use each other's resources and the things that people are good and efficient at in order to push forward the goal. And I am really, really honored that you guys want to ask me how I would do a wall in my little city. I spent a lot of time in Conroe. I worked for John Choate for about a year and a half as one of his IT people. Conroe is just really important to me to shape the city. We have a lot of good heritage and Crichton Theater and things like that. And so the idea of adding my personal touch was really, really flattering. Thank you, guys. So without further ado, let's get to the art. So one of the things I do whenever I go to build a mural is first I have to understand the space. And so with this right here, I made a bunch of sketches, several of them. So as I sketched, I observed things and I learned about the environment. So I felt that I knew this little area really well. It's not to scale, but I kind of like really exaggerated proportions for this level of work, the conceptual work. And so the first thing I noticed was these pipes running up here, this electrical conduit, and then we have a gutter over here. And so my plan was I'll introduce you to how we're going to do this later. But I want to make some cutouts, and then I want to paint on the cutouts my design, and then I want to mount it, turning that piece of conduit into a massive flower. Now, just by prefacing all this, we can do whatever kind of art you guys want to do. I was asked how would I do it. This is exactly how I would do it if it's my wall. But some people are into subtler or more classy or a little more corporate appeal art. So I'm fine with all those things. We can redo anything. I enjoy drawing, so it's really not that much work for me. But as you know, as I sent you the file, that is the file that we're looking at. And as you know, that is the space. Of course, you know it's your building. And so the principle here is that at first we seek to understand, really, really understand. Ideas present themselves. And it's true with my engineering work, and it's true with my work in art, that as I understand, I just do better art. Look at my old man shoes, you can see in that picture. So then I went about creating elements. I would find some texture on the internet, and I would draw every line on top of it because there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if somebody's already done it. But if you'll notice, on this one, the brick pattern is different. This is a different way to lay brick. And so this is I actually researched this. This is a form of a cobalt blue. And the cobalt blue pigment was a really, really early blue pigment we had that had a little bit of yellow in it and no red. And so it's an interesting choice. And they used it on these gates in Babylon, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I saw mock Babylonian gates at on my trip to the Chicago Museum of Art. They were doing an exhibit, but I just felt weird about walking under them, so I ended up not going. But I thought we could pay homage to the history of the art that's been done by incorporating some of these things into our own style. And so here's an example of how I came up with the stars. I would find, I said, man, that's a great star. And you can see, I use different levels of value. So some of them aren't even used, and some of them are used twice and things. But, I made it my own or whatever. And so that's kind of how the process works for creating these different things. And if you look at this star right here, because of the way this is laid out and this is exaggerated, really the only star that's going to shine through for the most part is going to be this one. And if you look at that light right there, we can actually end up centering that thing right over the light. We could actually put LED lights, and we could cut. I'll show you the method that we're going to use to cut some of these architectural things out, but the embellishments. But we could actually cover the front of it, and so it would have light that you couldn't see the source from, that was irradiating like a soft light from over here, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, whenever I'm coming up with these processes, I just kind of start brainstorming. I thought, okay, like the train is Conroe. I just downloaded that art. That's not even my stuff right there. Like the train isn't, but everything else is, every single line was drawn by my hand. I mean, it's my own intellectual property. In fact, if you guys decide to be moving forward, y'all are going to be purchasing these intellectual properties at the files that I make, and y'all actually own them. So it's not like, I mean, I could do a flower in a similar style, but that's going to be, all this is going to be your things that you're purchasing if you decide to move forward. What else? So this is how the process is essentially going to work. There's a thing called a CNC router. And the CNC router, you digitize your files, which they're already digitized. I just have to trace over them essentially, make a few changes or whatever. And this machine's going to, we put it in two different softwares, and the final result is what's called G-code, and G-code is read as machine language by this spindle in this machine. And so then it goes out to cut your designs. So a lot of the stuff that I have on the mural, like this armadillo, for example, it's going to be cut out of plywood. Think plywood, but it's a very specific type of material. All this stuff has pretty curated material selection. But anyway, like this flower over here, the train over here, these clouds that are over here represented that would be shining through. You can seeing it through here. All that's going to be this special material over here called MDF, and this is exterior grade MDF, which means it uses waterproof glue. I went into some pretty great detail. I don't think I have a drawing of it of my paint process, but essentially there's going to be at least one coat of primer, probably maybe even up to two. It's going to have to be sanded down. Paint, as you put it on something, it has a tendency to get more bumpy if there's any bumps on it. It's like there is no way to fix bad paint with more paint. Most girls have painted their fingernails before, and you know, if it has any kind of like chalkiness to it, it just gets worse with that second coat of paint. So primering all this stuff is going to be really important. It's also going to be important to preserve our paint. We're going to be using some pretty expensive paint on this job because we want it to last a really long time. And so what we're going to do is if we're going to be making something, normally I like to make my stuff thick. I mean, I'll glue some of these layers together with a special process I have, and I'll make something 9 inches thick. I mean, I'll make a sculpture. But because these things are going to be hung in the air, I'm concerned about weight as well. And I have solutions for all those mounting things that will be included in the bill of materials, so it's no big deal. The only reason I'm making it thinner in this situation is because we are going to be affixing things to pipes and stuff. And I want to make sure that we have all of our clamping systems set up. I want to make sure that it's able to hold it up in a windstorm for 100 years. I mean, I just really want to build something thick and robust. As far as the process goes, though, we will be cutting out a lot of these elements. 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers, 5 flowers. We're going to be cutting out the train. We're going to be cutting out this. So it's going to have a really layered look. I mean, I'm expecting the quality of work that you'd see at, Six Flags or Disney World. It's just really going to be built sturdy and to last for a lifetime. But there's going to be some different things we have to do. I didn't know if this window was important, like if there's like a person whose desk is right there and they love the sunlight or whatever. But for the moment, I'm thinking about, I want to affix using these bars, that MDF material in a way that it's probably going to end up covering that window, and we're not going to be utilizing the brick right now. The brick is also going to be a sort of a problem because brick it's not like a flat wall, like it has levels to it. And so no matter how much we try to automate this process, there's going to be a person holding a paintbrush, painting a lot of little bitty lines at different angles to get inside of all those bricks. So this really is not like a walk in the park job. I mean, there's a little bit of extra labor and things like that, but I have a few resources that I want to share with you that I'm hoping will curb and curtail most of the real labor involved in this stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the things out, the elements that we can cut out of the CNC router, the ones that are going to be like layered embellishments. And then the next step is I am going to use, I've never done it before, I've never seen it done before, but I know it's completely possible. I'm going to use one of these vinyl cutters that has the big sheets of vinyl and the big sticky things. Now normally when a sign printer does that, he ends up throwing half of that stuff away. Well, I'm going to end up throwing a lot of it away too, because I'm going to digitize in a different program that same drawing, and I'm going to have this vinyl cutter cut the whole thing out. I'm going to have it cut in maybe 36 by 36 inch pieces. This is a 54-inch model, but I have a 36-inch that I've got my eye on that I will buy if you guys are interested in moving forward. So it's digitized. It goes through the vinyl cutter. The vinyl gets applied to the wall. Now, we have to get this wall really, really clean to get the best application. And we also have to have primer on it because we're going to be using some pretty expensive paint. So this will all be primered and before the whole thing starts, because we want to keep. So we're going to be losing all of that vintage brick. Now, some people really like it, some people don't. But if you want to preserve any of it, we've got to incorporate that into the plans. I never paint a mural, and I will not do it ever again. I've done it before, but never again because I end up having to do too much work. But if there's a outer perimeter of something that I'm drawing, and there's no option to make any mistake of letting paint go that way, I will not do that job unless I mask that thing off. Now, in this situation, I've never masked off using automated equipment before. I want to be very clear on that, but I've seen so many murals go in. I've installed so many murals. I've done so much professional art that I really think I'm onto something. And this is going to be my first application of it. So I truly am flexing, my art muscles in a different way. And I want you to be very upfront with you about that and know that, yeah. See, I'm going to become my own lithographer is what's going to happen. The story between Picasso and his lithographer are absolutely legendary. I mean, these two people work together. The one person makes the lithograph. And so what essentially I'm doing is I'm creating my own art, and then I'm creating my own lithograph as well. One of the great things about doing things digital is once I make a flower once, to reproduce that, all I do is control, copy, and paste. I mean, it's just really, really simple to reproduce digital art. And so as your mural ages, these digital files will exist. And so if, for example, the red pigment that they used had too much burnt sienna ceruleum root in it, and it faded before the other paints, all we have to do is reprint out the vinyl, apply it where we want to, and this is going to take care of all of our line work. This is going to make it so easy. I am so tired of spending 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 2 weeks on line work, and I think I'm fixing to make short work of it. Like we mentioned, the brick will have to be clean. We're going to be using this method on all the things that we CNC cut out as well. So they'll be made 2 drawings. One that we speak the software for a vinyl cutter, one that'll speak the software of a CNC cutter. So different things will be digitized in different ways. It'll all be secured, and then we are going to be using First Shot oil-based enamel. These are professional sign painters paints, and they last a long time. They work right, and you actually get it in even the most premium paint you can buy at Home Depot really does have trouble covering in one shot. And these paints aren't like that. These are the type of paints that people use when they do automotive pinstriping and stuff. It's just professional level stuff. And it's pretty expensive, but it, like I say, it covers a lot and it lasts forever. I mean, just the quality. I just can't say enough good things about using professional quality art materials. So that's what I'm promising. That's what I'm proposing. And I hope you guys like the design. And I would really like to do something. And if you guys are like, we really like classy art. This is a bit of, very, very youthful and vibrant, but if you guys want like more subtle things like that, it's no problem. I mean, I'm not a stickler, but I really do want to have a hand involved in shaping the community. So I see this as a really great opportunity. So I want to do this wall so badly because I just think other people will notice it, and they'll be very, I'm very proud of how hard I've worked to be able to do this type of art. It has not been just, it's been a lot of grinding it out is what it's been to really learn how to do this stuff. And I'm not Banksy, I'm not like some world artist ready for a world stage, but am I ready to do a mural in Conroe, Texas? Absolutely. Absolutely. you will find me and my crew's work. I was working with a partner on the pawn shop in town. We did the um, upholstery shop over by the Chevron over off West Davis. What else do we do? A couple Mexican restaurants. We did a fantastic propane tank for this beekeeper. It looked actually just like a bee. We did the Sonic in town. You can go see our work over there. This will be a solo project. So the Woodlands Mural Painters is a limited partnership, but this is an agreement with Brian the Lion. And so I will be on the line for everything. I will use all of my engineering and art skill to bring really just the best quality art that I am capable of producing. Art where nothing more can be added to or taken away to make it better. So that is what I'm wanting. So if you guys want a price, if you guys want to change some art, just let me know by email or whatever, and we can work. I will need some money to move forward if you guys want me to redraw things, or if you guys want me to try some just a completely different approach. But yeah, let me know if you guys are interested or if you guys want to postpone or whatever. I really do want this work. So I thank you for letting me be included in this, and I look forward to hearing from your response either way. Thank you very much.